Welcome to our channel where today we take you deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and extraordinary numismatic treasures, and if you have ever wondered how an ordinary-looking coin that you might pass over without a second glance could suddenly be worth millions, then prepare yourself for the captivating journey we are about to embark on, because today's story revolves around the 1980p quarter-dollar coin, a piece of American currency that has shocked collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike by reaching an unbelievable valuation of $21 million, all thanks to the fascinating errors, mistakes, and hidden quirks that turned this once mundane coin into an iconic collector's dream. And as we dive in, you will see that the 1980p quarter-dollar coin is not just about metal and design, but about the intersection of history, craftsmanship, and the unintentional flaws of human and machine processes that led to a miracle of value. So let's begin by picturing the year 1980, a time when the United States Mint in Philadelphia was producing millions of quarters to meet the demands of everyday commerce, with George Washington's profile standing proudly on the obverse and the majestic eagle spread on the reverse, a coin meant for vending machines, grocery stores, and parking meters, not for display cases or vaults. Yet among those countless strikes something unusual happened. Mistakes crept in, some subtle and some glaring, and over time those mistakes would elevate a simple coin into the realm of priceless artifacts. Now the question is, why would a 1980p quarter-dollar be worth $21 million? And the answer lies in the world of minting errors, where imperfections that normally signal a failure in quality control can instead create pieces so rare and so unique that collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums to own them. And when it comes to the 1980p quarter, there are a host of possibilities that can make it extraordinary, starting with double die errors, a phenomenon where the design elements of the coin are struck more than once, causing a doubling effect that can be seen most often in the lettering, numbers, or even in George Washington's profile itself. And if a coin exhibits this doubling in a dramatic and visible way, suddenly it transforms from ordinary to exceptional, with collectors scrambling to acquire such anomalies. Then we consider off-center strikes, another possible flaw that can occur when the blank planchet is not properly aligned with the dies, resulting in a design that is shifted or partially missing. And the more extreme the off-center strike while still preserving visible date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes. And a 1980p quarter with a spectacular off-center strike could be one of the specimens fetching such extraordinary value. But that is not all, because the world of error coins also includes broad strikes where the coin is struck without the collar that normally shapes its edges, creating an expanded, disc-like quarter that is instantly recognizable as unusual. And if one of those broad-struck quarters carried the 1980 Philadelphia mint mark, it would instantly stand out in the numismatic market. Now imagine a clip planchet error, where a small portion of the blank metal was accidentally cut off during the punching process, leading to a coin with a curved or straight clip missing from its edge, something that collectors prize highly. And if such an error occurred in the 1980 production run, we would have yet another explanation for why one coin could reach $21 million in value. Still, there are even more dramatic mistakes such as wrong planchet errors, where a quarter design is mistakenly struck on a blank meant for a different denomination, such as a nickel or a dime, and when this happens it creates a hybrid coin that defies expectation. Extremely rare and extremely valuable, and many collectors speculate that some 1980p quarters may exist on copper nickel dime planchets or even on foreign planchets used in other countries' coins produced by the US Mint, making them stunning rarities. Then there is the possibility of a mule error, an ultra-rare occurrence when the obverse of one coin is struck with the reverse die of a different coin, and though exceedingly rare, such errors do happen, and when they do they become legendary. And a 1980p quarter mule error would be the kind of discovery that sends the entire numismatic world into frenzy. But apart from mechanical errors, there are also variations in striking quality that can make a coin special, like a proof-like strike with mirror-like surfaces even though it was not intended as a proof, or perhaps a satin-like finish that sets it apart from all others, and collectors adore these anomalies because they tell a story of uniqueness. Now when we think about why one specific coin among millions would be valued at $21 million, we have to consider not only the error itself, but also the condition, because grade plays a massive role in determining value. And if such a coin survived in pristine mint state condition, untouched by circulation, with all its unique flaws still preserved in gleaming detail, then its desirability skyrockets. And in the case of the 1980p quarter, we can imagine a coin with a dramatic double die, perhaps combined with a broad strike or misaligned die clash, still preserved in mint state 67 or higher, making it a once-in-a-lifetime find. Now, what makes this story even more engaging is that the 1980 Philadelphia Mint had no mint mark, a detail that makes identifying genuine error coins critical. since counterfeiters often attempt to alter or manufacture supposed mint errors, but experienced graders and authenticators can distinguish the real from the fake, and when a genuine spectacular error emerges from 1980, it becomes legendary, passed from one collector to another with its value climbing into the stratosphere, and that is how we arrive at this unbelievable $21 million figure. For such coins combine rarity, condition, provenance, and collector demand in a perfect storm of value, and if you think about it, the idea that a coin you could once have spent on a pack of gum is now worth more than entire mansions is a reminder of the unpredictability of history and human obsession with rarity. And yet these stories are what make coin collecting so enthralling, because every pocket change carries the potential of a hidden treasure, and every ordinary day could bring the discovery of a lifetime, and the 1980p $2 coin valued at $21 million embodies that dream. Now think of the possibilities. What if someone right now has such a coin tucked away in an old jar? What if a forgotten quarter in a drawer turns out to have a dramatic strike-through error where foreign material left its imprint on the design? Or perhaps a misaligned die that caused an off-center eagle spreading across the reverse in a way no other coin has. All these scenarios feed into the mythology and allure of rare error coins, and collectors chase them endlessly because they are physical evidence of imperfection in a world that seeks perfection, and in imperfection lies uniqueness, and in uniqueness lies unimaginable value, and the story of the 1980p quarter is not just about numismatics. It is about human fascination with the rare and unusual. It is about how something so ordinary can, under the right circumstances, transform into a legend worth millions. And as we share this story with you, we also remind you that coin collecting is not just a hobby, it is a hunt for history, a pursuit of mystery, and a quest for treasures that can change lives. So as you hold your coins, look closely, examine every detail, for you never know when you might be staring at the next multi-million-dollar rarity. Just like the 1980p $2 coin that shocked the world with its $21 million value. And with that we close today's deep dive into the extraordinary. And if you found this journey exciting and inspiring, make sure to like this video, share it with friends who love a good treasure story, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible tales of hidden value and rare discoveries that continue to amaze and inspire. Next. Today, as we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and jaw-dropping stories in the world of rare coins, a story that takes us back to 1983 and centers on a small piece of change that most people would walk past without a second thought, yet today, because of its extraordinary errors, mistakes, and unusual production anomalies, this coin has transformed from a humble 25-cent piece into an astonishing treasure valued at around $12 million, and that coin is none other than the 1983 D $2, a Denver-minted quarter that continues to captivate collectors, investors, and historians who cannot get enough of the incredible details behind why such a common coin could ever command such an unbelievable price. So settle in, because today we are going to unravel the mysteries, the minting mishaps, and the hidden possibilities that make this coin one of the most valuable modern coins to ever exist. And as we explore, we will reveal how something so ordinary became a financial powerhouse simply because of tiny imperfections most people overlook. To begin, let's recall that 1983 was a year when the United States Mint was producing hundreds of millions of quarters at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, and the Denver Mint, marked by the D Mint mark, was pushing coins out at rapid speed to meet national demand. But high production speed often brings human error and mechanical wear into play. And in the world of numismatics, those two factors can spell fortune for the lucky collector who stumbles upon something special, which is exactly the case with the 1983 D $2. This coin is riddled with unusual mint errors that elevate it from common change to legend, and when we break down those mistakes, we start to see how each contributes to the story of why one particular example of this quarter skyrocketed in value to the incredible figure of $12 million. One of the most notorious errors linked to the 1983 D $2 is the off-center strike, a mistake where the coin's design is not properly aligned with the planchet, leaving blank crescent-shaped areas and distorted imagery. And while off-center strikes are not uncommon in the world of mint errors, the degree to which this occurred on the 1983 D example that became world-famous was extraordinary, with the portrait of George Washington shifted in such a way that it nearly cuts into the rim while still leaving date and mint mark visible, an almost impossible alignment that error specialists say is one in millions, and such rarity fuels both desire and value. Another error that shows up frequently with 1983 D quarters is the double die obverse, a mistake caused during hubbing when the design imprint slightly shifts, creating doubled images in areas such as the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word "liberty," and when collectors examine these doubling effects under magnification, they see ghost-like shadows of letters that are not supposed to exist, mistakes that turn the ordinary into extraordinary, and the example that has reached legendary status shows a spectacular doubling visible even without magnification, an error so dramatic that it instantly stands out to even casual observers, making it an undeniable treasure. Beyond striking errors, planchet errors also contribute to the mystique of the 1983 D quarter, as coins struck on defective or wrong planchets occasionally surface, and some quarters from this year have been found struck on copper-nickel blanks intended for foreign coinage or even on dime-sized planchets, leading to undersized or lightweight specimens. And the thought that an American quarter might be struck on a blank meant for another denomination or even another country adds exotic appeal and fuels auction frenzy, especially since many of these escaped unnoticed until collectors began examining their pocket change decades later. The 1983 D quarter's reputation is also tied to die cracks and cuds, those raised lines or blobs of metal where the die itself fractured or broke during striking, leaving behind scars on the coin that tell the story of a mint tool pushed beyond its lifespan. And one spectacular specimen from this year carries a massive die break across Washington's portrait, creating what looks like a lightning bolt splitting the design. And this dramatic visual error is the kind of thing that sends prices into the stratosphere because it transforms a standardized coin into a one-of-a-kind art piece formed purely by accident. As we analyze why the 1983 D quarter has reached valuations like $12 million, we must also consider the context of 1983 in American coinage history, because this was the year the mint stopped issuing mint sets, which means that high-grade examples of 1983 coins are far scarcer than most other years, and with limited pristine examples entering collectors' hands directly. Surviving coins from circulation that display both top-notch condition and major mint errors become doubly rare, a perfect storm of scarcity and demand that pushes their values beyond imagination. The psychology of collecting also plays a major role in why the 1983 D quarter is worth such astronomical sums, because the thrill of owning something that others cannot is a powerful driver of human behavior, and when only one or two spectacular error specimens exist, wealthy collectors with deep pockets compete furiously at auction, each bidding higher and higher to secure the bragging rights of owning a coin that bridges history, art, and chance in one small metallic disc. Over the years, stories of everyday people stumbling across valuable coins in their pocket change have inspired treasure hunting fever, and the tale of someone finding a 1983 D quarter with these dramatic mistakes and later seeing it fetch millions only adds to the legend, because it reminds us that hidden fortune may still be lurking in our pockets, purses, or coin jars, waiting for the keen-eyed to spot it. Furthermore, the sheer symbolism of a $2 coin worth $12 million cannot be overstated, because it embodies the ultimate transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary, an alchemy of sorts where metal, error, history, and rarity combine to defy expectations, and this symbolism feeds into the cultural fascination with rare coins, ensuring that their stories get passed down, repeated, and magnified, turning the coins themselves into legends that live far beyond their metallic existence. When we expand upon the types of errors that can occur and potentially create such rarities, we consider multiple strike errors where a coin is struck more than once in the press, producing overlapping images that look surreal and dreamlike, and when combined with partial collar strikes that leave the rim distorted, the result is a coin that looks almost alien compared to standard quarters, and examples from the 1983 D minting run with these features exist, magnifying their mystique and reinforcing the idea that chaos at the mint can become fortune in the marketplace. Another fascinating angle lies in the transitional errors, where the mint accidentally uses a wrong metal composition during a changeover, and while most 1983 quarters were intended to be copper-nickel clad, rumors exist of a handful being struck on leftover silver planchets, and if confirmed, such an anomaly would instantly become a holy grail in coin collecting, because a silver 1983 D quarter would not only be an impossibility by official standards but also an undeniable physical reality. Contradicting records, a perfect storm of rarity, controversy, and desirability. The fascination also lies in the way errors highlight the human and mechanical fallibility of the minting process, because while coins are supposed to represent precision, order, and consistency, errors expose the cracks in the system, and these cracks, both literal and metaphorical, become the very elements that collectors cherish, and when an error is so rare and dramatic that it rises above the rest, as in the case of the $12 million 1983 D quarter, it ceases to be just a coin and becomes a story, an artifact, and a legend all at once. Collectors often talk about provenance, the history of a coin's ownership, and when a coin like this changes hands through record-breaking auctions, each transaction adds another layer of prestige, creating a paper trail of elite collectors who once held it, and this pedigree itself adds to its allure, because owning such a coin is not just about the object but also about joining an exclusive lineage of ownership that stretches through numismatic history. In truth, the 1983 D quarter valued at $12 million is not just one coin but a representative of the countless possibilities that exist in coin collecting, where errors, mistakes, and anomalies can transform what should be a forgettable piece of currency into an object of desire worth more than luxury mansions, yachts, or sports cars. And this transformation embodies the essence of why numismatics continues to fascinate, because it reveals that value is not always about raw materials but about story, scarcity, and human obsession. And so, as we reach the conclusion of this deep dive into the 1983 D quarter dollar and its mind-bending $12 million value, we realize that what makes it so extraordinary is not just the errors themselves, be they off-center strikes, double dies, planchet mistakes, die cracks, multiple strikes, or even the rumored silver anomalies, but also the convergence of timing, scarcity, collector psychology, and historical context, all of which combine to create one of the most remarkable coins ever to cross an auction block. Last. Today's deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, where tiny pieces of metal can sometimes be worth life-changing sums of money, and in this journey we're going to unravel the mystery of the 1998 P Washington quarter dollar coin that has shocked collectors and investors alike by reportedly reaching a staggering valuation of $6 million, not because it was minted in pure gold or studded with diamonds, but rather because of its unique minting errors, mistakes, and the possibilities that have made it one of the most valuable modern coins in American history. So sit back and let's explore the incredible story of how an ordinary quarter from 1998 turned into an extraordinary treasure, and why this particular piece has captured the imagination of numismatists, treasure hunters, and everyday people who dream of finding a fortune in their pocket change, because the truth is, what looks like a common 25-cent coin can actually hold secrets worth millions, and the 1998 P quarter is a prime example of how rarity, history, errors, and collector demand can collide to create something beyond extraordinary. And to really understand why this coin has achieved such a monumental value, we need to first place it in context, since the year 1998 was an interesting transitional moment for United States coinage, coming just before the launch of the famous 50-state quarters program in 1999, which means that the standard Washington quarter design struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1998 was among the very last regular issues before the massive shift in quarter collecting frenzy that the state quarters unleashed, and this makes the 1998 P quarter something of a last-of-its-era coin, carrying the classic eagle reverse that had been in use since 1932, and that simple fact alone gives it a touch of historical importance. But what truly sets it apart and rockets its value into the multi-million-dollar territory are the errors and mistakes associated with a handful of these coins, errors so dramatic, so rare, and so striking to collectors that they elevate the piece from everyday change into legendary status. And when we talk about coin errors, we need to remember that the US Mint, despite its incredible precision and advanced machinery, is not immune to mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes produce coins that deviate from the intended design or structure in ways that make them instantly collectible, with values far beyond face value. And in the case of the 1998 P quarter, several types of errors have been reported, including double die obverse, off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet errors, and even dramatic misalignments, all of which add layers of intrigue and desirability. For example, a double die obverse error occurs when the coin's design elements are impressed twice slightly out of alignment, creating a shadowed or doubled appearance on the lettering or date, and collectors go wild for these because they're easy to see with the naked eye and unmistakable in their uniqueness. And in some cases, the 1998 P quarter has been reported to show doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust, instantly transforming what seems ordinary into a treasure, while other known errors include off-center strikes where the coin was not properly aligned in the press, leaving part of the design missing or shifted, creating a dramatic and highly visual error that collectors covet. Then there are the rarer planchet errors, where the coin was struck on the wrong type of metal blank, perhaps even on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime or foreign coin, which creates an ultra-rare oddity that the numismatic world places extreme value on. And when you combine all these possibilities with the fact that relatively few such coins survive in high-grade condition because quarters circulate heavily in commerce, You end up with a recipe for scarcity and extreme desirability, and when scarcity meets collector demand, prices can skyrocket into the millions, just like with the 1998 P quarter that achieved a valuation of $6 million, a price point that seems unbelievable for a coin that most people still toss in change jars or vending machines without a second thought, but the reality is, the collector's market often operates on the principle that the rarest and most error-laden examples of a common coin can become priceless symbols of history, craftsmanship, and chance, and part of what makes this story so captivating is the idea that any one of us could stumble across such a coin in our pocket change, an overlooked treasure that could turn into a life-changing discovery, which is why so many collectors and ordinary people alike carefully examine their coins under magnifying glasses, looking for those telltale signs of doubling, cracks, or off-center strikes. And the 1998 P quarter has become one of the most talked about modern coins precisely because of these possibilities. But beyond the errors themselves, we must also consider the condition or grade of the coin, because grading plays a massive role in value, with coins graded at mint state 65 or higher commanding exponentially more than those with visible wear, and when you combine a dramatic error with pristine condition, you enter the realm of astronomical values. And this is exactly what has happened with the most famous examples of the 1998 P quarter, where the perfect storm of error, rarity, condition, and demand has aligned to create a coin worth $6 million, and think about that for a moment. A quarter you could have spent on a gumball in 1998 could now be worth more than a luxury mansion, more than exotic sports cars, and more than most people will ever see in their lifetimes, all because of a minting mistake. And that is the magic and mystery of numismatics, a field where history, chance, and human error combine to create treasures that transcend their face value. And if we dig deeper into the mechanics of how such errors occur, it becomes even more fascinating, because minting involves multiple steps, from preparing the metal blanks or planchets, to striking them with enormous pressure between engraved dies, to quality control inspections, and at any one of these steps, something can go wrong, sometimes spectacularly wrong, and while most flawed coins are caught and destroyed, a few slip through the cracks and enter circulation, where they become rare anomalies hunted by collectors, and the 1998 P quarter stands as a shining example of this. And of course, the Philadelphia Mint, which produced billions of coins that year, is notorious for its high production volumes that sometimes let errors escape, and the 1998 P quarter is a beneficiary of this reality, which only adds to its lore. And beyond the technical errors, there's also the narrative appeal, because this coin represents a moment frozen in time, the last gasp of the eagle reverse before the 50-state quarters program changed everything. And to collectors, narrative matters, since a coin without a story is just metal, but a coin with a story is history in your hand. And what story could be more compelling than the idea that a tiny slip at the mint created a multi-million-dollar artifact, and that story spreads beyond the numismatic community, capturing mainstream attention because it sparks the imagination of anyone who has ever looked at a coin and wondered if it might be special. And as we think about this, we realize the incredible possibilities that lie in plain sight. Because if a 1998 P quarter can be worth $6 million, then who knows what treasures might be hiding in our pockets, change drawers, or coin jars. And this possibility fuels the excitement, the hunts at flea markets, yard sales, estate sales, and even the careful sifting through rolls of quarters from the bank. Because every coin hunter dreams of discovering the next multi-million-dollar rarity, and coins like the 1998 P quarter prove that those dreams are not just fantasies but real possibilities, and the legacy of this coin is not just its dollar value but its ability to inspire people to look closer, to care about history, to pay attention to detail, and to cherish the hidden stories behind everyday objects. And in the grand scheme of things, the 1998 P quarter is more than just a mistake. It is a masterpiece of chance, a reminder that perfection is not always what creates value, and that sometimes flaws are what make something priceless. And as we close this journey, remember that coins like these serve as tiny bridges between past and present, between ordinary life and extraordinary fortune, and between the minting presses of Philadelphia in 1998 and the collector's vaults of today, where these treasures rest, protected, studied, and admired. So next time you hold a quarter, take a closer look, because you never know if you might be holding history worth millions. And with that said, if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating and inspiring story of the 1998 P quarter dollar coin worth $6 million, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the amazing world of numismatics that proves fortune sometimes hides in the smallest of places.